There he is, Matty Leinart. What's up, everybody? How you doing, buddy?
Hey man, I'm good. I can't. This is my first time ever on your show. Wow, it's been years.
Yeah, I mean, it's the show's only a couple of years old, so yes,
It's been 2 years, and this is the first invite I've ever received, and I am honored, Mr. Klatt.
I'm honored. Pleasure's all on this side of the table, my friend. All
I
on this
love you,
side of the
buddy.
table.
Let's go.
Listen, I thought this would be a perfect week to have you on because, obviously a couple of years ago, like Caleb and USC kind of went crazy, but this one feels different. It doesn't feel like just a great quarterback and an offense with Lincoln and like the newness. What's happening at USC right now feels more sustainable. And in particular, in what I think all of us would consider to be like a pretty difficult schedule for them for the remainder of the year. So the vibe amongst the USC faithful, what are you feeling right now?
It's it's much better than it's been the last couple of years. That's for sure. And again, it really points to one thing. I think it points to the defense and how improved they are. It might be the biggest turnaround for one unit, one side of the ball in all of college football this year. And I know it's only been 2 weeks, but um, it's been wild. So I think when you talk to fans and you talk to alumni and everyone's like, wow, like we actually have a defense because we knew we would score. We knew we have an offense. We know we have the players and Lincoln Riley and all that. So now that we have a defense, it's like, holy crap, like we're pretty good. And I think LSU was the big test, right? That was a week one in Vegas. I was there as about 70% LSU fans. And I wasn't sure we were going to win that game. And when the defense played that way and Miller Moss and those guys, I was like, we might have something. So the vibe is good. I think, but I mean, I know Michigan this week, like this is a tough one for me, man, because this is one of those games where you go on the road, you play a team coming off a bye that's everyone's saying how bad they are, and it's like they might get punched in the mouth. It has that type of feel. So I think this is a true test for me. I know Michigan seems kind of down, but this is a true test for me to see how good we really are.
Okay, so like expectations going into the year. D'Anton Lynn comes in, and we used to talk about it. Like what he did at UCLA was really solid, and
Right.
and yet what he's doing with USC seems even better. So has he exceeded what you expected for that defensive side?
I mean, he has, but Joel, we were like the worst ranked defense last year in college football.
Oh yeah,
So
I'm aware.
the bar was set pretty low.
Yes.
Okay, but I think everybody was excited about um, just his personality, his demeanor, obviously what he did at UCLA, turning that into one of the better defenses in the country last year. We got some good players, some guys like Anthony Lucas kind of didn't do much last year. He's been really good through 2 weeks. Eric Gentry's all over the field. Like they got better. They got better players. And when I was on the sideline for that game in the pregame, and I talked to Coach Henderson and I talked to a couple other guys, and they were like, "Wait till you see this. It is light years ahead of where it was last year. Fundamentals, just basic stuff." And I think it's in the way they're practicing and the way he's teaching. So he has been far better than I think any USC alum or fan could imagine. And now can we sustain it? Right now, can we, with the schedule that you mentioned? I mean, still brutal, and that starts this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, although this game looks vastly different than it did at the beginning of the year, and a game that at the beginning of the year we all thought to ourselves, "Oh, that's going to be really tough for USC." Now it's totally flipped. Now it's going to be really tough for Michigan to match up with this team, namely because I do believe that USC is going to be able to score, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that Miller Moss has stepped in and played phenomenal football. Not even just like good, like what he did against LSU late, bro. Like some of those throws,
the whole shot.
Like come on, like that's such good quarterback play, and you expect it from Lincoln Riley, but you're like, is Miller Moss going to be that type of guy? And it seems like he is.
He's all so I know the stories out there. I've known Miller since he was probably 5. He used to go to my camps, and he always had.
So you taught him everything he knows. Is that where we're going? Is that where I did?
No. He's always had he's always had that swag. Even you see like those little like 8-year-old kids who wear the wristbands and they're like they can play, but like, okay, this kid's got some swag too. Like Miller was always that kid. Like I'll never forget him. I remember him. His parents every year they come, and he was a diehard Trojan. Like he was never going to leave USC. no matter what happened, because he is like Trojan through and through. That's why I'm really proud of him for sticking it out. But he's always had game. He was really good in high school here. He was a fairly big time recruit, and he's just kind of waited his turn. And as you said, you turn on the tape, and some of those throws against LSU in that environment, and that's top notch quarterback play. Couple throws even last game against Utah State. I know they beat him pretty handily, but he's making throws that not just a game manager would make. Like, he's putting it into windows that are really tight. He's getting them in the right plays. And, you were there. We were there with Lincoln this summer at Paternet at our retreat. And I asked him, Lincoln basically said, like, it's going to be easier for him to call games in a sense, because they can get in a rhythm. They can get in a flow, because with Caleb, who was sensational, you just didn't know what you're going to get sometimes when he was running around making plays. With Miller, exactly the checks, where he's probably going to go with the football. And you're seeing that so far with the run game, with the pass game, and also, Joel, too, like the thing, like I was saying, like Zachariah Branch. Zachariah Branch hasn't really been a factor in the first two games. I mean, Kyron Hudson was the hero in week 1, right? Their running back has been outstanding. Lake McCree's our leading receiver through 2 games, a tight end. Jacoby Lane and all of these guys. And Zachariah Branch is probably the best player on the team, yet he hasn't been a factor. So I think it just goes to show the job Miller's done in running this offense at an elite level, like a lot of the quarterbacks have done for Lincoln Riley.
Okay, Michigan. They're going to start Alex Orji. I talked about it on my Monday podcast, which unfortunately I had recorded on Sunday before the news. And I said on that show, Matt, I was like, you got to choose somebody and you got to move forward. And it's probably not Davis Warrant. That's ending up what the case is now. So Alex Orji is going to be the starting quarterback for Michigan as they take on USC. What are your thoughts on Michigan in preparation for this game?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous for USC because remember, you were there last year. What did Michigan run? Like 30 run plays in a row, or what was the number?
I think it was 32.
32 run plays in a row. I know this team is different. I get that. They lost the offensive line. But you have a quarterback like Orji, who is just an absolute man-child at quarterback, and his strength is running the football. And you have a USC defense that's been good. Do they have the depth? Can they play with physicality for 4 quarters? We'll see. They did against LSU, but we'll see. And then you combine that with those 2 running backs Michigan has. If Michigan gets to a lead, a fairly comfortable, I just worry you might see something like that where USC can't get off the field because they're just running the ball down. I don't know. I know this Michigan team is different. The offensive line hasn't been what it's been in the past, but look, as you said, they had to go with somebody. Alex Orji, obviously more dynamic of a player. Davis Warren was struggling throwing the football with turnovers in the first couple of games. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I think it comes down to that. And also, like, going back to Miller Moss, like against aggressive defense that Michigan plays, not turning the football over, handling that atmosphere, that's going to be huge.
Yeah. Do you have a prediction? What do you think?
I think it's going to be low. I don't know the number. I think it's going to be a little lower scoring.
Oh,
maybe.
You do?
I do.
Interesting.
I do. I think it's going to be 28-17, 28-21 USC. They cover.
He's taking the Trojans. There he is. There he is. Hey, by the way, everybody listening to this show, go check out Matt's new podcast. It's called Throwbacks with Jerry Ferrara, Turtle from Entourage. You guys know him. You love him. You guys do an awesome job. It's very fun. Give us a quick snippet. It's obviously some sports and a lot of entertainment as well.
It's a lot. It's a lot of sports. It's a lot of just 2 dads talking ball.
I love it.
By the way, we're episode 3. We just started. I'm going to get you on on the first season. Unlike you, I'm going to get you in maybe one of the first 10 or 15 shows just to show my loyalty for you. And we'll talk about what it's like to have a ton of kids, coaching youth sports, all the crazy stuff that we go through. And then just loving sports, man. It's fun. Jerry's great. Obviously, iconic shows like Power and Entourage, and we kind of grew up in like the same era in LA. I was USC quarterback. He was a star on that show. And it's like our lives are like parallel to now. Like we're both in the same boat. So we kind of talk about that. And it's a lot of storytelling. It's a lot of fun.
I love it. Throwbacks. Go check it out wherever you get your podcast. Matt, appreciate you, man. I'll see you on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Later, buddy.
Thank you for watching the Joel Klatt Show YouTube channel. And if you liked this clip, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel. And you can stay up to date on all of my college football coverage.